It was a long journey to get to 2019. You know, to me, I've always said that it's so much bigger than the wins and the losses. I think playing this sport for as long as I have been playing, you really just enjoy the journey. You enjoy what you've learned up until that moment. You know, I think it was the journey getting into the World Cup and getting picked to be on that roster that was holding the most weight. But I think once my name was announced to the roster and I was in the tournament, I kind of felt like, all right, the rest is left to me.
Crystal Dunn wins the battle once more.
Here's Dunn now. She's teasing and tormenting too. She's created space. Can she get across? Up? Took a deflection. Oh, it's a good.
What makes the women's national team so unique and just successful is our mental space, our mental ability to really stay unified in these tough moments. Winning a World Cup is not easy, and the games we went through, obviously, to end up being in the final were some of the hardest games I've ever played in my entire life. But I think, you know, when I look and I see Becky Sarabran and then I see Megan Rapinoe in front of me, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm like, we got this. Winning a World Cup is so incredible, but it comes with a lot after you win. You know, everyone handles those moments differently. You know, some people are like, I want to get involved in everything that I have the opportunity to get involved in. And I think some of us were like, this is great. I've spent 3 months with you girls, but I gotta go. Obviously, I remember in 2015, the girls being exhausted, coming back into the league, and I didn't know then what they meant, but now I understand. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm, you know, pretty laid back, pretty chill. I try to really pump as much positive energy into the world as I possibly can. But I will say, leading into 2015, I was not that person. 2014 and leading into 2015, like, I wasn't really happy playing soccer. I was going into national camps, not really feeling like, you know, fully a part of the team or feeling like my best self. So that's really hard to be in an environment where you don't feel great about who you are as a player. And then you're told to compete against, obviously, others that probably have so much confidence, and you just don't have that same confidence in yourself. I was hanging on to kind of every word that a coach would say to me and be like, oh my gosh, they don't think that I, you know, am a good player. And I would put that into my own self and not really trusting in my own abilities. I think missing out on the World Cup actually was, in the hindsight now, probably the best thing for my career. You know, constantly being in an environment where you just never felt like your best self, and then stepping away from that environment just gave me kind of a breather. It allowed me to, you know, create a new environment. Going into, well, the middle of 2015, I should say, is when I started to say, wow, all those amazing feelings and those moments are coming back to me. Like, I've missed this. I went on in 2015 to win the league MVP and the Golden Boot in that year. So 2015 wasn't a terrible year for me at all, actually. I was really like, you know, I don't care what anyone thinks. I know I'm a great player. I know I can be a great teammate to everybody. And, you know, everything, I won't say felt easy, but it definitely felt easier. I really defined who I wanted to be, and I found myself again. You gotta come here. Yes, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. She's like, oh, all my friends are eating and I'm stuck with you. Oh. I used the first couple of weeks, I would say, in quarantine, just really enjoying time with my husband, just, you know, watching the news, trying to stay up to date about what was going on in the world. And then I kind of started to move on to, how am I gonna stay fit? What is this year gonna look like? Wow, what a bummer this would be if the Olympics can't go on, you know? And then I started thinking about all the other things that were gonna fall into place, or not fall into place, I should say, such as the NWSL season. I was probably like everybody when I first heard that the NWSL was gonna return in a bubble form. I think I was excited that there was a plan, but also very skeptical.
Plays it to Dunn. Dunn with an opportunity, and she puts it in the right corner. And Crystal Dunn has her first goal here in the NWSL Challenge Cup.
The NWSL was the first league back in sports in this country, and I think there was a lot of, just bad blood, I would say, between us and other leagues because they weren't acknowledging that we were the first. Everyone is still saying the MLS was the first back, so it's unfortunate that there was kind of already miscommunication going into the tournament because I think it should have been a moment that was celebrated. A women's league being the first to return, I think, was just a really great story to tell. So we knew we were going to be the first league back, and we wish we had more time to really do all the things we wanted to do around the message of, Black Lives Matter. This was about collectively having that very powerful message be displayed on TV. Obviously, if we were the first team back, we wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. A couple of years ago, on the national team, Megan Rapinoe was the first to kneel in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. And at that time, I was so grateful to her, but I was also like, dude, I'm the only one on this team. I don't have that support from others that look like me or have shared experiences like me. I just remember at that time that I didn't have a lot of Black teammates. That's something that I am on the side trying to really help change. Kneeling in the NWSL Challenge Cup was about my teammates supporting me and showing solidarity. That's really what it comes down to, is just knowing that your teammates have your back and that everybody is all on the same page and wanting to put out change in the world, and we want to be behind the change because I think people think, it's a Black person thing, or, if you're Black, you're the ones that want to correct these inequalities. But, obviously as a Black person, all my teams have been predominantly white. So of course I need my teammates to really have my back and show support and really be there for me. These are challenging times, so there wasn't a whole lot to enjoy this year, but I will say, for me, just going into 2021, I feel like appreciate spending time with loved ones because you sometimes are pulled in so many different directions. I would really like to change that. It's hard to tell right now what next year is gonna look like. I'm hopeful that next year looks somewhat like a normal season. I would love to kind of go into 2021 knowing that I'm gonna get 20 games. I'm gonna prepare for the Olympics. Obviously, fingers crossed, it goes forward. Obviously coming off of 2019, I think the girls are really hungry to get even better. So I'm really, really hopeful, obviously, that we step into an Olympics and we put out our best play and hopefully we have a gold medal to show for it.